Don here in Florida, and I'm coming back with a very short show and tell video. One of my viewers wrote in and said, Don, you bury a lot of cool little trinkets information down inside your videos, and sometimes they're hard to find, or if I'm looking for something specific that I want to do because they are buried and they're not advertised, I don't know they're there. So this is just kind of a short show and tell, something I've already done that I think some of you might be able to use up the road if you have a Delta bandsaw. So let's take a quick look, okay? Okay, so this is the upper blade guide for the Delta bandsaw, and the guide itself goes together something like this. And this is my own modified version of that. I didn't like the sliders, so I put in rollers. So, but that's how that goes. And then the blade guide would go like that. That would keep you from getting your hands into the blade. So this is the main holder. This goes right on the shaft right here, and then it moves up and down like this. So, and these just lock the guides, and these are screw holes in the back here where you can adjust the guides in and out, and that's just a locking bolt right there. So that's what it's supposed to look like. And if you look at this, you can see this is a very, for a small casting, a very weak point right here. And when I bought up all those bandsaws, I had a number of castings that looked like this. They were all broken. Apparently, where these bandsaws come from, they were a little abusive on them, and this screw right here probably got over tightened and broke this out. So what I decided to do to fix this was to take a piece of aluminum and put it like this and screw it on, okay? And what I did, notice that just fell off. That's because that was broken. What I did was I went ahead and I milled out this right here, the thickness of this aluminum, so that the gap here would stay the same. And when I milled this one, this fell right off, and that casting, you can see it already been probably broken for a long time, or at least cracked. So when I came to the end of that milling operation, I thought I was near done. I took it out of the vise, and that just fell off. So this basically was not going to work. So what I did was I went in the trash, and I had another one, and this is what I did. I took that piece of aluminum, same thing, I milled this out. That's 125 thousandths right there. Milled that out, and before I put this together, what I did was I bent it. You can see right here, there's a bend right here, and in that 90-degree bend, obviously when you bend this, it's not going to be flat, and you're going to have a radius in here. Again, I milled this flat, and I milled that radius out of there, and then I bolted the aluminum in. Notice it's a little bit narrower here. I screwed that aluminum in just like that. Of course, you have to make holes here and here, and for this screw, and locked it down on there. And then I took another mill and I just milled across here, another milling pass right there to clean that up. And basically that was it. I now had a new hole here. But if you look at the original one here, let's see which way I go. If you look at the original one, okay, there's supposed to be a boss right here for a screw to go into to lock this in place when it comes in and out. So that would go in there like that, and you'd have a screw right there that would lock that. What I did instead was, because these two pieces are overlapped here, I drilled up through the bottom and I made a brass locking nut like this. Okay, so now when this goes in here like that, okay, I just come up and I lock it like that. Okay, aside from allowing for a lock to hold this in place, okay, it also ensures that these two pieces can't push apart. So that's why I did that. Now, some of you may say, well, hey, you know, if you're cutting, that underneath there can you know, cause issues. Well, I tend to leave a little bit of space when I'm cutting, so I'm not too worried about it. Most of the stuff I cut's fairly flat like that anyway. And of course I have 14 inches of movement this way, so we're close to it anyway. And if I had to, you can see there's a few threads right here, and this is pretty thick. I could take that out and literally be about at the bottom edges of these rollers right here, but I'm not too concerned about it. So I've got that in there like that, and then of course this goes in like this. I had to make some 5/16 studs here, and I put some screw heads in the top, and these go in like this, of course. And you take a screwdriver, you screw that down tight. Same thing here. And then that allows you to move that in and out and lock that in place, lock that in place, and that's it, all done. So we went from this original style here to this, and you're probably thinking, well, what about your guard here? Okay, because that guard goes right on there like that. Well, what I'll do is I'll make a guard just the same, but what I'm going to do when I make my guard, because I don't have another one of these, I'm going to leave this as a hole here, so I'll use this Allen head as a dowel, and then I'll just lock in, loosen that up slightly, lock it in like that, and we'll be good. So I think this will work just fine, and I think I'm going to put this on the Frankensaw. So busted one, factory one, Don's. So all right, I keep saying I'm not going to do any more on these Delta bandsaws, but I keep tripping myself up and looking like a liar. So just little things keep coming up on them, and you know, it's fun to work out and get through. So I guess that's about it. I hope you enjoyed this little trinket information, and as always, from Florida, Don out.